Welcome all of you students. Last time we studied the diffraction of light and we have defined diffraction, the phenomena of bending of light near the edges or corners of the obstacle or slit and spreading into the region of geometrical shadow. So that is the diffraction of light. Then we studied two types of diffraction. The first one, Fraunhofer diffraction, and second one, Fresnel's diffraction. Today we are going to talk about the Fraunhofer's diffraction at a single slit. So for that we have drawn this figure, and in this figure we have a narrow slit AB, then one converging lens, that is convex lens, and a screen is placed at the focus of this convex lens, and we have a monochromatic source of light or any source which is kept at an infinite distance. Suppose we have a source of light S, and the light rays coming from that source are allowed to fall on convex lens, which is not shown in this figure. So that diverging rays are incident on that convex lens, and after refraction the rays comes parallel and they are incident on this narrow slit AB. That is, the plane wavefront is incident on the narrow slit AB, which is having width A. So A is the slit width. Then according to the wave theory of light, each and every point on the slit AB act as a secondary source of light. So when the plane wavefront touches the slit AB, so each and every point on AB act as a secondary source of light, and it will start emitting the secondary waves or wavelets. So all the points becomes the secondary source of the cylindrical wavefronts, and that wavefronts travels in all possible direction. Now this slit AB is divided into two equal parts, AO and OB. So width of AO is A by 2 and width of OB is A by 2. So this is the direction of incident ray. Incident ray travels along OP0. Now there are number of rays which are traveling parallel to the direction of incident ray. So we have a convex lens here. So all the parallel rays after refraction converges at point P0 on the screen. Now if we consider the two extreme rays AP0 and BP0, the path difference between these two rays is equal to 0. Hence, the point P0 is a bright point. In the same manner, if we take the number of rays coming from this region AO, we have the symmetric rays in region OB, and all that parallel rays arrive at point P0. Therefore, we have a bright point on the screen. So that we have studied in interference. But in diffraction, instead of bright point, we call it as central maxima. So this point is central maxima or maxima. The intensity at this point is maxima. So this is the brightest point in diffraction pattern. So we have a central maxima here on the screen. Now then we can find out the location of minima, the position of secondary minima. So here we have the rays emerging from point A and point B and the midpoint O, and that rays reaches at point P on the screen. Now all these three rays, they are diffracted, they are bending from their original path, and they make the small angle theta with the parallel rays. So this angle theta is angle of diffraction, and this angle is very small angle. To find out the path difference between the two extreme rays, we can draw a perpendicular AC on AM, or AC is perpendicular drawn on this ray. So this angle is 90. So this angle is theta. So this angle is 90 minus theta. Therefore, this angle must be theta. This angle is theta. Now we can find out the path difference between these two waves, that is ray AP and OP. So we can take a point K on AC. Then we can find out this path difference. Okay. So before this, what is the path difference BC between BP and AP? So from this triangle, we can find out the value of sin theta, and sin theta is equal to BC upon AB, because BC is opposite side of this angle and this AB is hypotenuse. So by geometry we have sin theta is equal to BC upon AB. Therefore BC is equal to AB sin theta, but AB is slit width, that is A. So path difference BC is equal to A sin theta. So this is the path difference. Now this path difference between these two waves or between these two waves is lambda by 2. So this is lambda, so this path difference is lambda by 2. So what we can say, the path difference between these two waves is equal to lambda by 2, hence point P is a dark point, or path difference between these two waves is also lambda by 2, hence point P is a dark point. So we have a dark point at P, that is the destructive interference, but in diffraction we call this point as the secondary minimum. So point P is the secondary minimum or minima. So what is the condition for the secondary minima? So condition for secondary minima is the path difference, that is A sin theta, is equal to n lambda. So for first secondary minima, n is 1. Similarly for next minimas, we can take the values of n. So for first secondary minima, A sin theta is equal to lambda. This is for either side, upper side of the central maxima. So sin theta is equal to lambda upon A. So this is for first secondary minima. We know this theta is very small angle and it is expressed in radian. So we can write sin theta is nearly equal to theta. So theta is lambda by A. So this is for first secondary minima. Then we can find out the second secondary minima also. So for that, what we can do, for second secondary minima, we can divide this slit AB in 4 equal parts. So this slit AB is divided into 4 equal parts. So these are the 4 equal parts, and we have drawn a perpendicular here. So this is our C, and we have number of points here. Now these are the parallel rays. So we have drawn these parallel rays. So this path difference BC is 2 lambda here. So half of this is lambda, and this is lambda by 2. This is 3 lambda by 2. Now what we will find here for secondary maxima, for secondary minima, we have the points here. Suppose one point is here and wave is coming out from this point and reaches to the point P on the screen. Similarly, another wave coming from this point and reaches to the point P. So the phase path difference between these two waves is lambda by 2. Similarly, the waves coming from these symmetric points reaches to the point P, having path difference lambda by 2. So what we will find? The two waves coming from this and two waves coming from these 2 points reaches to the point destructively, and we have a secondary minima, means we cannot see light there. So this is the secondary minima or minimum. In this way we can generalize this. For nth minima, what is the condition? A sin theta, that is the path difference, is equal to plus or minus n lambda, where n is equal to 1, 2, 3 and so on. Here plus or minus because we have considered the entire diffraction pattern, this above P0 and below P0. That's why we have plus or minus sign. So this is for the nth minima. Similarly, we can find out the location of the secondary maxima. So that part we will continue in next lecture. So today's lecture, what we have seen, we have obtained only the condition for the secondary minima or condition for nth minima. So this is the experimental setup for Fraunhofer diffraction at a single slit. So what we have seen here, so this is the slit, this is the convex lens, this is the screen. The slit width is very small. It is of the order of 10 raised to minus 4 to 10 raised to minus 3 meter, and the distance between the slit and the screen is very greater than this slit width. So this capital D distance is about 10 meter, and that distance D, capital D, is nearly equal to the focal length of this convex lens. So this is the Fraunhofer diffraction. So here we have completed only one condition, that is the condition for nth minima. In next lecture we will study the condition for secondary maximas and the condition for central maxima. There is no need of mathematics. Directly with the help of the condition, the path difference between the waves is equal to 0. Hence, at the center of diffraction pattern, there is a central maxima. The intensity at that point is maximum. That is the highest intensity point. So this is the diffraction